Hi, good evening. Here we go then. Let's talk about one of the subjects that you've been going on about for ages. The crisis at our borders is spiraling out of control. We've got to face the truth. Keir Starmer promised to keep Britain safe at home. That's what it says behind me. But has he already failed? This is the John Gaunt Show. Thank you for joining in. Feel free to make a comment. Today in the Commons, they're debating a bold proposal by Rupert to deport all illegal immigrants. There's no more detail on it than that. Public opinion seems to support it, but does it work? Or is this just Rupert Lowe, ex of the Reform UK party, grabbing a headline? That said, Conservatives have joined in as well and are backing his motion. It's not going to become law, but it's really interesting. Meanwhile, late this afternoon, Labour, Yvette Cooper, she's floating digital ID cards for all migrants. I don't know how that'll work, though, do you? Because surely that's too little too late. And also, why should we give up our civil liberties for these illegal people who are coming into our country? We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about France's failure at Calais, the case for military intervention at Dover, i.e. the army on the beaches like President Trump has done, and also, of course, the Navy in the Channel. And we need to decide, are Labour totally out of ideas after just 10 months? They're clearly out of money. Join the live chat. Drop your opinion in. Please don't hold back. I've had a poll. I've got it here on my phone. Is Rupert Lowe correct? Should all illegals be deported? Yes, it would deter them, 99%. No, that's inhumane, 1%. Over 150 votes. It's only a little thing. It's not a major thing. But I'd like your opinion on that. If you've got one, let's hear it now. So where do you stand? It'll never go through, this probably. But maybe this is what's needed. We need a Rwanda type scheme that anybody who's caught going forward is going to go straight to another country to be processed. If they've got a right to be here, then we'll let them come back and they can settle and they can contribute to our great society. If they've got no right, bye, you're off to Africa or maybe the Orkney Isles. No, not the Orkneys. That's unfair on them. I like the Orkneys. But you understand what I'm saying. There's a clear choice. But then we need to be tougher. We need to be on the beaches. And we need to stop things like what happened today. 2 Afghans got 80, the best part of 80 people into the country. A mother and a child died in the Channel. They overfilled the inflatable. They got arrested. They got 8 months in prison. What kind of deterrence is that? And deterrent? Answer, it's no deterrent, especially when you compare it to Lucy Connolly, who got 31 months in prison. So let me just remind you of what the agenda is today then, please. And I'll take your views. Jake Moulton-Brown, he's first on, so we'll talk to him in a couple of moments. But should we deport all illegals? This is a live debate. Say whatever you want to say. No swearing in the comments, please. Clearly, Labour has failed to secure our borders and control illegal immigration, just like past governments. So, you can't say Boris did any better. In fact, in lots of ways, he did worse, or Sunak. But today, the MPs are debating former Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe's proposal, because he got 100,000 people on his petition, to deport all illegal immigrants. So these are the questions I'm asking you. Do you support deportation? Or do you think it would be inhumane? I don't like the idea of it, rounding up thousands, maybe a million people and sending them off. I don't like it. And where do you send them to is the next question, of course. I don't like it, but I don't think it's fascist. I have to remind myself these people are crooks. They should not have come into our country without going through the proper channels. Just coming across the channel does not fit the criteria. Is that too harsh? Do deportations deter? Would it put people off if they knew if they got here, they're going to be deterred, they're going to be sent back? And why do you think Keir Starmer's failing? Is he just too liberal? Why can't he control our borders? What is his problem? I want to have your views. And my suggestion, I've been saying it for weeks, put the Navy in the Channel, the Army in Dover. Do you agree with that? Also, what do you think about France? They've taken billions off us, but they're just waving the boats away. Surely we've got to not declare war on France, but we've got to tell them this is a political war. You're not playing the game, so you can stop fishing in our waters. Why are we giving them billions of our money to basically stick the V's up at us? And then this new news breaking this afternoon. What do you think about digital ID cards for migrants? You might be an ex-copper, you might be ex-armed forces. Would that work? And is it, at the sound of the risk of being an uber liberal myself, is that a threat to all our civil liberties? And finally, have Labour run out of ideas in just 10 months? If you look at this thing behind me now, you'll see this is a quote from Starmer, which he says the first duty of any government is the protection of its citizens at home and abroad. Well, he's failed, hasn't he? He's a miserable failure. But let's not just pick on him. They are all miserable failures. I was going to do one today about national service and say, would you join Starmer's barmy army? I certainly wouldn't. I'm too old anyway. But I wouldn't let any grandchild, if I had any, do it. Would you? And then today they're talking about getting young kids like an apprenticeship. Go and get yourself killed in the Ukraine. Go and get yourself, shed your blood on a foreign battlefield in a war that's got naught to do with you. Up yours, Starmer. And the funniest thing about this, these are the very youths who just a few months ago, he said they were all far-right thugs. Now he needs them because Donald Trump's told him he's got to get tough on defence. So now he's got to getting his shiny submarines eventually. I heard today they're coming on the 12th. These 6 new nuclear subs. Yeah, the 12th. I'll give you a date. The 12th of never. Did you hear John Healey, the defence minister, who looks like Gollum, doesn't he? Just look like Gollum. He couldn't even answer Nick. What's his name? I know him really well. Anyway, him on LBC. He put him right on the spot and said, how much are they? He didn't even know how much each sub was. He didn't know when they were coming. The whole of that press conference the other day was complete and utter bullshit from Starmer. Well, I've had enough of it. So today we are asking the question, has he failed? What do we want now? And is Rupert Lowe right to say deportation has got to be part of our armoury? Let's have your opinions. Jake Morton Brown, he was the first off the blocks today. He says, if they pass that, I'll eat my flat cat. Well, I'm the same. They won't pass it today, but it's at least being debated now. And that's what you've got to look at, Jake. Politics is a long game. At least now they're realising. I think the uber liberals, I think the political establishment are beginning to run scared. Suddenly talking about ID cards. Suddenly saying, well, maybe the British working class or working people, as they'd call them, have got a point. They don't want to be overrun by migrants. It doesn't mean they're racist. It's just that we can't take them all in. It's unsustainable. The straw that broke the camel's back was this weekend, of course. 1,200 people in one day. We can't allow this to continue. So what's your suggestion? Cody Rees says, yes, I think each and everyone who comes illegally should be deported. Okay, so let me ask you a question there. I know you're on Facebook. What if they've been here for years and they've raised a family? What if they then say, well, what about my human rights? Well, the quick solution to that is we've got to get out of the European Commission on Human Rights. We've got to say we are going to have human rights, because you're not going to get me saying shoot them, sink the boats and all that. I don't say that. You've got to treat people well, because that's what marks us out as a civilized society. even if some of the people who come in turn out to be savages. They're still going to get a trial. They're still going to get looked after and then hopefully get sent down for good. I'd change it so we had a death penalty for some of the horrific things that some of them have done. But that's a separate issue. But we're going to treat them fairly. But we can't let everybody in. Are you with me or against me? Going mad on the comments. The country needs to be tough, John, says Graham Hatton. It does feel like they're taking the slash out of us. But Starmer won't implement it. He couldn't lead the conga at a wedding reception. That is a brilliant line, which I shall steal and use in one of my intros in a few days' time when you lot have forgotten about it. It's true. He's not a leader. But now, at this critical moment in our history, we need real leadership. Do you agree? What do you want our policies to be, though? Obviously, we need immigrants. Everybody agrees that well-controlled, I hope, well-controlled managed immigration is a good thing for the country. But it can't be a free-for-all. Thank you to everybody who's hitting the like button. Keep smashing that for me. It really helps with the algorithm. Don't forget, if you'd like to do a super chat or a super sticker on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, just press the heart and donate whatever you want. If not, you can do it on www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Anything from a £5 upwards, you can buy me a coffee or a beer or several beers, whatever you fancy. We had a cracking show yesterday. Thank you so much for that. I really feel that we're getting somewhere and we're having the debates that you can't have elsewhere. So if you've got a view, I want to hear it on my show. Denise Deacon, yes, anyone who comes here illegally should be deported ASAP. This is the only deterrent. Also, instead of equipping our army for war, equip them for protecting our borders. Denise, you're on my wavelength, let me tell you, because that quote there is from their actual manifesto. That's from the Labour Party. That's what the idiot's been putting up on Facebook today. And I've written fail across the top. He talks about protecting us in our homes, but he wants to send your old man, your brothers, your boyfriends, and indeed now, because it's equal opportunities, your daughters to the front line in Ukraine. No. And if you heard his language when he was talking about his strategic defense review, he talked about integrated forces. That sounds to me like a European army. They've been trying to get that through for ages, as you know. I don't want that. I want the British army. And I want the British army to defend our great country. And at the moment, they're being prevented from doing so. How ridiculous is it that we're going to take on Russia, right? We're going to take on Russia and we can't even deal with a rubber dinghy. I see Putin today is up the ante and he's taking the mickey. He's put messages up on social media saying, we've got no desire to attack Britain. Now, of course, he could be lying. Of course he could. But he's just laughing his duck off because Starmer is in a panic. Do you agree with me? Yes, they're breaking the law. A genuine refugee would be claiming asylum in the first landed country. As far as I am aware, the French aren't persecuting or prosecuting them. After Paris riots, it seems it's the other way round. I understand where you're coming from. Thank you very much indeed. Sir Keir is just weeing in the wind, says Rob. Rob, I like your passion, but remember what I said. No swearing on the comments if you could help. Roy Brownlow just said, send them back. Yeah, Roy, I'm with you. Where do we send them back to? And Mike Kirkness says Ferrari. He's not talking about Formula One. He's talking about the commentator, Nick Ferrari, who I should know. I've done loads of telly with him. Yeah, it was a brilliant interview. It's up on YouTube if you want to see it. Have a look at it. Basically, Gollum, the guy who's in charge of the armed forces, he didn't have a clue. He didn't know how much the submarines were going to cost. He didn't know when they were going to be delivered. He didn't even know when we were going to order them. Yesterday was all tits and tinsel. It was all sizzle. Here's a good one for you. All sizzle. I don't know about you. I've had enough of the sizzle, Sir Keir. I'd like the sausage, like you wanted. You wanted to release the sausage. I wonder what you were thinking of when you said that. So if you understand what I mean, Sir Keir, we all like a bit of sausage, don't we, Sir Keir? So could you stop giving us the sizzle and give us the whole banger? How about that, mate, eh? How about that? That can be your next little video that you put up to impress us or try to impress us. Marie Gledhill says, me too, especially fighting age men. And we need our soldiers home to protect ours. Marie, thank you. There was somebody sent me a message last night, and at first I thought, well, that's a bit pathetic. They said, well, what happens? All our boys go off to fight in the Ukraine, yeah, or the back end of nowhere. Who's going to protect us at home? And I thought, oh, come on. It's not like, you know, the bogeyman. We're not going to suddenly get raped in our beds. It's not the Vikings. But then I thought, actually, there's something in that, isn't there? There is something in that. You leave a load of blokes in this country who are fit and healthy and physical. And we've already seen, I'm not saying they're all like this. Obviously, the vast majority aren't. But we've seen some pretty vicious, violent attacks on the streets of our cities. And we've seen and heard of rapes. And then indecent exposure. They come from a different culture. They've got a different attitude. That doesn't mean that every migrant is a rapist. Don't misinterpret me. But I don't want to play Russian roulette whilst Keir Starmer is playing let's take on the Russians in Ukraine. We shouldn't be helping Ukraine now. It's ludicrous. We've done enough. Do you agree or disagree? Just have a drink. Roy Brownlow says he wants an election now. Well, you're going to have to keep wishing for that. We don't have to. They don't have to go to the country for another 4 years. Here's the best suggestion of the night, and if I had any budget, I'd give you a prize. Jules Harrison Newton on Facebook says, how about deporting Starmer? That is a classic. Don't forget, if you do watch it on YouTube, JongauntTV, by the way, make sure you subscribe. Then you will always know when I'm doing a new broadcast. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe, but it means you get all the updates. Waste more money we ain't got and something we don't need. One button, one bomb, end of. What are you suggesting? I don't quite follow that, my friend, but I thank you for your comment anyway. Are you pressing the like button? Yes, sir, you are. 20 so far. Thank you very much indeed. Let me just remind you a little bit of the agenda and the things that I do want to make sure we cover. What do you think of the French? Come on, let's have some comments on the French, because I think they're largely guilty for the problems we're having at the moment. Did you see the video on GB News where they were just waving? Bye, have a nice day. We can't cope with this. Deportation, early doors, but it looks like most of you agree with my poll that we want deportation as part of our armory. And most of you think Keir Starmer's been a total failure. Do you want the Navy in the Channel? Do you want the Army on the beaches in Dover? The way it's going, I'm going to be saying I want the Army on the beaches of bloody Calais, because they're taking the PISS. And what about digital ID cards for migrants? All of them. This would stop companies like Deliveroo and Uber and people like that, this loophole where they employ themselves because they say they're self-employed, so they don't have to have an ID check and we don't have to know that they've actually got the right to be working and living in the country. What do you think? We're talking about boat people, not immigrants. What are you on about? I'm sorry, Roy, don't understand you. Tony Pycroft says to me, Starmer needs to go now. What will the UK be like after 4 more years of LIBOR? He's calling them LIBOR like a lot of people do. Good picture of you there, Tony. Thank you very much indeed. I don't know. I don't think we can survive another 4 years of Starmer. And God help us if Starmer goes and Angela Rayner, the ginger growler, takes over. Or worse, you know what the big rumour is? Sadiq Khan will become Prime Minister. They'll give him a safe seat and the mayor of London will become prime minister of our great country. And if you think things are SH1T now, imagine what that would look like. Look, they've run out of ideas. I don't think they had any ideas. I just think they got in because all the others were so bad. Why can't we just cut to the chase and say to Nigel Farage, take over? He can't be any worse, can he, than this mob and the mob before him? I'd like your opinion on that. So thanks for that, Tony. Let's go to Michael Jones. He's got a Fred Flintstone avatar. Very good. On Facebook. We need some form of security force to watch the shores of Dover. That's what I'm saying. The Navy. And as soon as the small boats are detected, the appropriate security forces can be deployed and arrest them as soon as they set foot on British soil. I like your thinking, Michael. Just want to improve it. You can't let them get onto the sand. The moment they put their foot down, they've got a right to claim asylum. Now, I know we could change that if we got out of the ECHR, but in principle, we need to arrest them at sea. Well, I'm always watching training videos. Well, not always, but you're seeing them, aren't you, on Facebook and stuff. There's a dreadful one today for the army where they're climbing through. There's like a wall with a window. Have you seen it? This was meant to encourage young kids to join the army today. And they're climbing through a window. I said to my mother-in-law, we're watching it, because it's like a stage set. I said, they're a bit thick, aren't they, those squaddies? Why don't they just walk around the side? And she said, that's the exercise. You've got to go through. But you don't understand the principle of what I'm saying. And what about that? I read today, Serco, the people who've effed up the prisons and prison transport, listen to this. They're taking over recruitment for the whole of the Navy, the Army, and the RAF. The advertising for the jobs. They've given it to a private company. Why don't they give it to Group 4 Security? Don't they ever listen or learn from the mistakes of previous governments? These politicians haven't got an idea. So anyway, going back to training films, wouldn't it be good? You know, the SAS, they come over in the choppers and they drop down, and you see them in Somaliland and that, and then they get on the boat and take it over from the pirates. Well, this would be great training. Rubber dinghy going up and down, helicopter comes in, few of our brave lads and lasses now in the SAS shinny down the rope, smack whoever's driving the boat in the chops, takes over the boat and says, well, sorry guys, we're turning around. Whack! Turns it into a handbrake turn or whatever you do at sea and heads back to Calais, right? On the front, he's got two other SAS people with machine guns, right? We approach the French. They'll have the white flag up as quick as ever. You know they will. And we say, wait, hold on, got something for you. Another handbrake turn. I'm only kind of half joking here, by the way. Stop in the shallows, all off, off you get. Then we hear the chopper coming over again. I'm good at this. I'm getting carried away. Ropes come back down. SAS back up the ropes. Last SAS, oh no, they carry up the, what do you call it? The outboard motor, because we'll use that. And then machine gun the boat. Nobody's on it. The boat's wrecked. Right? Victory roll as they go down the beach, giving a clear sign, clear signal. Make sure they can all get a good picture or a video or for their YouTube channel, all the migrants, so that other people know we ain't messing anymore. Now, that's far-fetched, but the general principle of what I'm saying is correct, isn't it? Why on earth are we giving in? And what about this guy today? Two of them, Afghans. They smuggled in the best part of 80 people. A woman and a child died in the channel because the boat was overcrowded. They got 8 months in prison. 8 months. Lucy Connolly, anybody? Tommy Robinson, anybody? That pathetic specimen thinks that Tommy Robinson and Lucy Connolly is more of a danger to Britain, to security, us, the British people, than two Afghans who, when the first opportunity arises, tries to smuggle in 80 other people. Do the math. It must be a fortune they were making. So there we are. So that's my views on that. Let's move on. The UK belongs to the British people. So why don't the British people take personal action and go and close the borders and deport all the illegal migrants? Also, get Starmer out of government now, says God is love and right on YouTube. Thank you for your comments. By the way, make sure you're sharing this video to all your mates. Get more people listening, because that's what we need. Paul Redding on Facebook, he says, oh, just lost you. I'll just put you up. Keep on revealing the truth, mate. Well, what I would say is, it's my truth. I only ever speak my opinion, things that I honestly think. Sometimes I exaggerate, like the thing there with the helicopters, but I don't make things up, and I don't play devil's advocate. If you don't like me today, try me again tomorrow, because I might say something you agree with. That's proper talk TV or talk or radio, not most of the rubbish you get at the moment. So that's me never getting a job again. Melissa Ann, yes, get them out of this country. The Chip Man, he just says, hi, John. Hi, all. Are you going to say anything, Chip Man? Or is it just, hi? The boats need stopping now. Deporting, then start. Thank you very much indeed for your comments. Marie on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook tonight. I don't know what it is. Last night, we had the most people ever watching on Twitter. I think if you look, I've got the repeat still up. It's got about 3,500 views already, or 4,000 views. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. But even if you've been watching on Twitter or Facebook, please join JongauntTV. All you do is find JongauntTV and press the subscribe button. Or if you're watching a video, it's dead simple. You just press the button on the video and then you'll be subscribed. And then every video I make, you'll know about. Every time I'm going to go live, you'll be told. And the best part is, it costs nothing. It's completely free. I've got 3,000, just looking before I came on, about 3,650 subscribers. I'd like to get to 4,000 by the end of the week. So it's ambitious. But if you can help me, please do so. My name's John Gaunt. It is the John Gaunt podcast stroke videos. And we do these live shows. I can't be asked. I mean, sometimes I will. But I can't be bothered to do a podcast where it's just me. I'd rather go live every time. I don't care how many people are watching live. It's good if there's loads, which there is again tonight. But it's about just getting it out there. Michael Jones, I'm for controlled and properly managed immigration. Well done, Michael. So am I. But not wanton lawlessness to continue. Deport all illegal immigrants and all the foreigners who are in our prisoners. Good thing that you said there. Yeah, the foreign prisoners, 13,000 at the last estimate. Of course, they've got to go. And we've got reciprocal agreements, so we'd have to take back some of our lags. Fair enough, we'll do that. But this is what's wrong with Labour. Oh, there's a prison crisis. I know what we'll do. What's that? What's your great new idea? That's a song, isn't it? Anyway, what's your big idea, Yvette? Well, we'll let out a load of murderers and rapists and muggers and people who nick your phone. We'll let them out, and we're not going to send people to prison. What? Genius, says Keir Starmer. Go to the front of the class. You're going to be next Prime Minister. You're brilliant. What a brilliant idea. Well, it almost is what they're doing, isn't it? They are going to release loads of prisoners in the next week or so. They've just delayed it this week because Starmer's absolutely crapping himself over the immigrant figures coming in at Dover. Hey, on top of that, have you heard the latest excuse? You know, the normal excuse for Labour when they mess up is it's the Tories, it's the deficit, it's the black hole. They've got a new one. It's the weather. Evidently, it's the weather's fault that we're getting so many migrants in. What? You mean the migrants who came at the end of May/June? What? You didn't think it'd be hot then? And the water a bit calmer, Sakir? Do you take us for mugs? Don't answer that question. But you do, don't you? You think we're all thick and you can come out with any rubbish. Less than 11% at the moment, your approval ratings. What are you doing? If you want to commit political suicide, go and do it. But don't take all us with us, you lemon. What do you reckon? Oh, I read that one. Chopper. MK50 made a donation last night on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. It wasn't so long ago we sided with America and Russia and defeated the invaders trying to breach our channel. Oh, yeah, I watched Dad's Army as well. Don't tell him your name, Pike. Stalin was worse than Putin. We need the original allies back together. Yeah, well, I thought we were doing that. I thought the boys were back in town with Trump. I really did. But then what did Starmer do? He got together his coalition of the willing, or as I call it, the coalition of the flaming useless. Anything that he proposed or proposes to do in Ukraine, he can only do it if Donald, excuse me, sir, we put some troops in for us. Yeah, you got to up your defence budget to 3%. Okay. Then he turns around to Gollum, right? I tell you, now I've got that in my head. That's all I can think of. The bloke who's in charge of defence. Hey, Gollum, we got to get more army. We got to get more. Oh, I know. Let's have a youth training scheme. Do you remember them? It worked for Maggie. YTS. Let's get a load of YTS to train with the SAS. Now that'll do it. That'll put it up on, won't it? Hey, just nonsense. Just nonsense. He's taking us for mugs. But then I don't think there's another political party, apart from maybe your Reform, and they're untested, who could sort this mess out. What's your view? What are you going to do about the French? They supply our electricity. They could cut the connection if they wanted, says Charles Freeman. Well, that's an interesting point you bring up, my friend. A very interesting point. I believe we should never have sold off all our lecky and our gas and our water. Look what's happened with water. There's a prime example. Not Severn Trent, the other lot, Thames. They're going bust. Going completely bust. The people who were going to invest in it thought they could make a quick few book, and now have said, no, I'm away. Why did we privatise electricity and gas, but allow the foreign companies to buy it? France and Germany had it as part of their law that, I can't remember the exact percentage, but a certain percentage of those utility companies had to be owned by French or German companies, not us. And this is, well, it was Thatcher, but it was towards the end of Thatcher, wasn't it? It was the Tories who did that. They knew the price of everything and the value of nothing. But I don't think you can make much difference between this Labour government and the Tories, personally. You couldn't put a poppadom between them, could you? And that's the problem. We should never, ever have been in that position. You're right. We could be held to ransom. Gets worse than that. Russia could do it to us as well. It's absolute madness. What are you going to do about that, Gollum? Hello, John. Says Peter Adams. Oh, Peter's good because sometimes we agree, sometimes we vehemently disagree. Let's see if he's in what sort of mood he's in tonight. Hello, Pete. Here in Hungary, if you cross the border illegally, then you're classed as a criminal in capitals, not an illegal immigrant. You then get 28 days in jail and deported. Simple, isn't it? I can't argue with you, Peter. Very good point indeed. This government doesn't even want to call illegal immigrants. Starmer and Yvette Cooper now call them irregular immigrants because they haven't come through the proper channels. I know what you're thinking. I know you're swearing at me. I know. I'm just telling you. Don't shoot me. I'm the piano player. Please. I just find it mental. A lot of delivery drivers in Coventry share the same accounts of cars, etc. Most of them are uninsured. You're absolutely right. You're right. I got in an Uber the other week. I think I told everyone here about it. And it was meant to be, what's those little electric cars? They're not bad. Prius. He turns up in a Merc. And so I'm waiting for him and I can't see him. So then he calls me and says, where are you? I said, I'd be outside the whatever it was. And I said, where are you? He said, I'm just near there. I said, are you in a Pyrrhus? He says, no. So I walked over to where he was. He's flashing his lights. He's got a Merc. I said, hold on a minute. This isn't the car that's on my app. And I showed him the app. He said, oh. And then he plays the I cannot speak English game. So I got out of the car. They tried to charge me, Uber. I emailed them and said, hang on. How do I know if he's insured, if it's not the same bloke? It wasn't the same picture of the guy. You know, they have the Uber license like hanging down. And that's happening with other things as well. Delivery drivers. You are right, Chipman. No one's bothering to clamp down on it. Why? Because they're idiots. They live in a different world. Starmer probably doesn't even understand that. Starmer probably says, "Oh, I'll have a Chinese tonight." It turns up he eats it. He doesn't think where it's come from. He's a... Anyway, the Mayor of Manchester is first before the Mayor of London. Well, again, he's got the same problem, Charles, if you're talking about Andy Burnham. He can't be the Prime Minister at the moment unless he becomes a Lord, or indeed unless he becomes an MP again, which he isn't. He's neither of those. But I take on board your point. Andy Burnham, if I had to choose between anyone, he wouldn't be too bad. But no. Nigel Farage. All right. Hello, John. Here in I've read that one already. Michael Jones. The British public will need to carry out legal forms of public discord to force this treacherous and traitorous Labour government out of power and force a general election. Petition the King to force two-tier Keir's hand to resign and give the British people what they want. And lots of people have said that to me. I just don't see it happening. Can't see the King intervening either. Just cannot see it be happening. The SBS do that sort of thing, not the SAS, says Charles Freeman. Charles, have you always been a pedant? All right, the special boat squad. Okay, but you understand the principle of what I was saying, yes? So go and pull the wings off a couple of butterflies or set up your own podcast and see whether you can talk for 30... How many minutes have I been on? Where am I? I can't tell now. I've been on for about 36 minutes, haven't I? However long. See if you can talk for as long as me with no script. You know, sometimes, mate, criticism like gets on my tits, if you don't mind me saying. Anyway, it's not the BBC. I haven't got 15 researchers shouting in my ears. This is just me, live. I don't even have time to iron my shirt or have a shave. I've had time to do the other thing that you have to do if you're a squatty. John Penfold Sarcone. They should be intercepted before they get a mile out of the French side and just tow them back, like Australia did. You're right. So we're outside French territorial waters, right, with all our boats. That's all three of them. And then we see the refugees, migrants, whatever you want to call them, scum, whatever. They start to come out. Chuk, 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 chuk. We can see the French on the beach, the police, on their mobile phones and all doing that, saying bon voyage, and also counting all the money we've given them, the billions we've given them. And as soon as they cross that line into international waters, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, here comes the SBS, and we take over the boats. And we either pull them straight back in there, into their area, or we do what I said earlier, which is simply get them all off and wreck the boats. Get a cruise ship. When the small boats are accessed, take them there, process them, deport them anywhere they will, except Rwanda, anywhere, or ask if they'd like to return to their homeland. The worst comes to worst, put them in fields secured. Ronnie Hurst isn't messing about tonight. Thank you, Ronnie, for that. You know, it's interesting what you say about using cruise ships. I saw a program on the telly ages ago. They called it the cruise ship graveyard. Did you know at this moment in time there are hundreds, I don't know, it's hundreds, there's lots of cruise ships moored up all over the world because they've been building so many, and then the cruise ship market collapsed. Why can't we use them? But they'd probably moan about them like they moaned about the oil rig container thing. If it's good enough for students, or if it's good enough for our boys in Afghanistan, it should be good enough for illegal immigrants. I'm not talking about a terrible situation. I'm not saying be cruel to people. Former buffer zone excludes these illegal immigrants from being able to claim asylum like they've done at the Port of Calais, controlled by the UK Border Force. That could definitely work. You know, when you go on Eurostar, you go through customs if you're French in this country and vice versa coming back. Why can't we do that? Why wouldn't the French agree that? You see, the French, Macron was so keen in being in the coalition, but not giving any troops, of course. But they all say they want us back in the EU until they have to do some work. That's the French. The French are laughing at us, says Seaside Mark. Thank you for your contribution, by the way, Mark. Pay millions for them to save them over the channel. 18 boats the other day. They aren't interested in helping. They're all the enemy out, and who can blame them? Thank you for your comments. Where are we going now? Just, I think we'll go to Keith. Gonna have to finish in a minute, guys. So you need to have a really good blistering comment if you want to get on, or make a donation. Go into Super Chat or Super Sticker, and you get straight on, because that's the way the algorithm makes it work. How can the French not see the 1,200 from last week? We should ask for our money back from them, as they're clearly taking the proverbial. Exactly what I've been saying, Keith. Keith's on Facebook, by the way. They're just glad to see the back of them from their shores. Correct. Jackie Ward, why can't we turn the boats back as soon as they get to English waters? We're just importing Labour voters. Well, I think that's a question you could perhaps ask Keir Starmer. Is this a way of you making sure you get elected again? A bit like lowering the age of voting to 16. He'll stop at nothing, this bloke. He's our supreme leader. I don't know why he doesn't start wearing the combat suits like Kim Jong-un in North Korea, because he's treating us like that. As you said, John Keir thinks we're thick, and some people must be, because they voted him in. Thank you very much indeed. Nigel. Legal me fraud. Fraud is theft. Modern day slavery consented. Slavery was never abolished. It was just made inclusive. No named. I'm sure that meant something in your head. Perhaps you could now send it back to me again, and you could write it in English. Hi, John. I used to work for you in Coventry. Good to see you still speak common sense, says Villagaz74. I've never employed anybody who would call themselves Villa, surely. Send me a note later and remind me of who you are. But thank you. I'm sure you're a great work. I'm just taking the mickey. Where we got next? Andrew Cottrell. Starmer needs to go instantly. Used to love having a stiff drink, John. Now 3 nights in a row. 3 nights in a row. We agree. Oh, no. Got to be careful, because you are agreeing with me too much. Huh? Won't clamp down because Uber employs Starmer's imports. That's probably true. Yeah. Immigrants tell the government what they want from them instead of the government telling them what they're going to get. That seems like a good point to me, and that was Gavin Candy. Right, we haven't solved all the world's problems. We've had a rant and a rave. Probably feel a bit better for that. I do, that's for sure. Just in case those of you who like to know what I'm eating tonight, it's a bit of salmon. We call it salmon with squash, tomato and stew. You cook the salmon on a bed of green beans, black olives. Don't skimp on the olives. Black olives, small little tomatoes, cheapo ones will do. What else? Bit of sage. You put all that in the bottom of the roasting tin. Bit of olive oil. Put olive oil over the salmon. Oh, get all that going first. Then whack the salmon in for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's a fantastic meal. And I think Lisa's done some Jersey Royals for those who still eat potatoes. Very nice indeed. Very healthy for you. Good for your blood sugar. I'm even giving you tips on that now. Anyway, what's this say? No named. The all caps legal name is owned by the Crown, not you. Yes, you are committing fraud. Matron, it's medication time. Thank you. All right, then, I'm off. Thank you very much indeed for watching. 34 likes. That's fabulous. Lots of people watching. If you've been listening on the podcast, thank you for doing that as well. If you're watching it later on replay, thank you. Please retweet it. Get more people to watch my videos. It all helps me with the algorithm. And if you want to help in the financial way, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt and donate anything from £5 upwards. It's £5 a drink, and you can call it a beer if you want, between me and you. And then the other thing is you can do it on YouTube with a super chat or a super sticker. The chip man says, cheers, John, all the best. You know, I had my teeth done. I had my tooth out. How long is it before your mouth feels normal again? Huh? That's unbelievable. Still feels weird. Doesn't feel like it's my mouth. Feels like I'm wearing it in for Shergar. Anyway, I'm back tomorrow at 6:30. Hope you can join me. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.